I remember it like yesterday when Matt came down the stairs and said so casually with a smile, I booked a one-way ticket to Santiago, Chile. I thought to myself, is this real? Can we really leave our amazing careers, friends, and family? Fast forward 10 months later, after all the hard conversations, endless checklists, and heartfelt goodbyes, we were heading to the airport with one backpack each, about to set out for a multi-year adventure around the world. Filled with excitement, we had no idea what to expect, but we knew it would be a fun ride. Join us as we share what we are learning on our journey of a lifetime. This is Passport Joy Travel Talk with Nikki and Matt Javit.
All right, this is going to be a fun episode. Today we are covering what we packed for our 2-year journey around the world in one single backpack. Nikki received a lot of positive feedback on a post that she put on the blog on this topic. So we're covering clothes, organizers, toiletries, everything that's in our backpack we'll be covering. And then we're going to answer a couple of questions from our followers. What luxuries do we miss the most while we travel? And what it's like to spend so much time together, 24/7 hours together. It can be a challenge at times. We're discussing that. Again, thanks for tuning in. Please be sure to subscribe on the podcast tool you use, iTunes, Stitcher. We use the Overcast app. And then when you subscribe, you will automatically receive each episode when it's published straight to your device. And when you feel comfortable, please rate and review us as well. That helps us a great deal. And then we'll be discussing at the end of the episode our awesome contest that you can enter by giving us a review. Okay, on to the episode. Enjoy. All right, let's talk about the backpack. It's a huge question we get on the road and from our friends back home. They always say, how the hell did you pack for 2 years? Like, it's impossible. How do you guys get all that stuff in there? And how did you decide what to take? So Nikki just wrote an amazing post on this, and we'll have that in the show notes. You can go there. That details a lot of the information you're going to hear today. But it was a difficult process. We had to lay everything out. And at the end, we cut a lot of things that were not going to fit. As we were making that first trip to Santiago, Chile, there was stuff that didn't make it, and we figured it out as we went, but originally packing the bag was a difficult process. So I'm going to pass it over to Nick. She can tell you about it.
Hey guys, so before we left, this was one of the things that caused me, I think, the most anxiety, was packing my entire life into one bag. I don't know, it's probably the same for both women and men when you have to do this. I felt like this is what I had planned for the most, researching online, what are the best things to bring along, what's the best bag that you can carry with you, the best type of travel clothes to wear, the best type of shoes to wear, best type of sandals, just everything in general. And you feel like you spend hours and hours on end asking friends who have traveled and just researching on the internet, just the best possible things that you can use until you just find yourself going to stores. I mean, I remember Matt and I would go to REI and all these different travel stores and just finally say, I just have to touch the product, see it, wear it, feel it, to feel actually comfortable with it. There's only so much that you can look at and so many pictures that you can look at and so many opinions that you can trust and so many blogs that you can read before you're just like, screw it, I have to go to the store and see if I'd actually like it myself. So I got to the point where we would buy things and then test them out and then take them back. And then, like Matt said, you come to the day when you think you have all of your things and they're going to all fit in, and then they don't. So you just start reasoning with yourself, well, what can I live with and what can I do without? And then comes the day when you figure it out. So I'm just going to go over some things that we have used over the last several months that has worked for us. And hopefully they'll help you in your travels and in your journey. But yeah, it was definitely daunting when you realize that you have to pack your entire life into one bag, and it's a normal feeling. So hopefully we can help you through that. So the biggest thing for me was finding the perfect bag. And after a lot of research, we found the Osprey Porter 46. And what that is it's a 46-liter bag. And it's super ultra light, weighs 1.5 kilograms, and it is supposed to be carry-on standard for most international and domestic flights. And with that being said, we have run into a couple instances where some airlines will just make you put your bag into the little bin, and if it fits, it fits. But sometimes before you check into a flight, they'll actually make you weigh your bag as well. So we have run into 2 situations where my bag was over the weight limit, and so I did have to check it in. But for the most part, the Osprey Porter 46 has worked on every international flight that I've flown on and the domestic flights. So it has fit that category for us, and I really like it. In addition to that, it has a laptop sleeve, which is awesome, and I'm able to put my Google Chromebook in that, and it's padded, which, protects that laptop. And the best part about this bag that I like is that instead of the backpack loading on the top like most travel bags, it's a front loading main compartment. So it's kind of mocks a normal suitcase, and everything, in my opinion, stays neatly inside and doesn't get all jostled around. It also has lockable zippers, which is very important to me. Therefore, people can't go inside of my bag or put things in it or steal things out of it. And then it has a lot of compartments that you can neatly store your extra things in. It also has these things on the outside, which are called compression straps. And that helps me. So when I'm done stuffing all my stuff in there, you can use those compression straps to then compress that bag down to a smaller size to help it fit nicely on that airplane. And then it also helps to just secure your stuff in there as well. The walls on the outside of the bag are also padded, which is an additional protection for your contents. And then the hip belt on the bag is also padded too. And the harness that is on the bag can be both stowed away for when you need to check your bag, like I said, for those 2 times when my bag was over the weight limit. And then there's in the chest strap, there's a built-in safety whistle. So not that I've ever had to use that, but I think that's a cool little feature that the bag has. So it's just a little whistle that you can blow if you're like in a situation where you're in distress. And it's pretty loud because I've blown it, and Matt and I have gotten a chuckle out of that a couple times too. So the bag itself is not waterproof, but it is made out of a water resistant material. So if you're going on any type of treks or hikes, or you're just walking outside to get to your next destination, it's nice to have a bag that's made out of that water resistant material. So all around, I really like this bag just because it is comfortable when I wear it if you're not walking for super long distance. And like I said, all of your stuff inside it lays in there really nice, and you can take it out in that front loading main compartment.
What's wild about the bag is that we've actually seen our exact same bag many times on our travels with other travelers that you can tell are doing longer than a week or 2 on the road. So it's very popular. Like Nikki said, there's a ton of these bags out there. And I think last I checked, they were out of stock on Amazon. So they might be...
They had like red and green available. We have the black one. So, you can get those 2 colors.
Yeah, and I think they're always advancing their own technology and coming out with new bags. So you might want to check their website and I think Osprey is one of the leaders in the game for backpacks.
Okay, moving along. So the next thing I want to cover is clothes, and I'm not going to go over everything that I have, but clearly, I couldn't take my whole wardrobe with me, and Matt and I, we've touched upon this before, we prefer warm weather. So on our travels, we follow the sun. And so really the only things that I have as far as outerwear goes is that would be for like a cooler climate would be, I chose to use the Patagonia Nano Puff jacket. And for a scarf, I use the Lululemon Vinyasa scarf. And I really like the Patagonia Nano Puff jacket because it's ultra light and it keeps you warm in up to -1 degree Celsius weather, which is like 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, it like folds in on itself so you can literally ball it up to the size of your fist. Or you can just lie it, like fold it up and put it flat on itself, and it's super paper thin and it's windproof. And so basically, I got this jacket because I knew that we wouldn't be in super cold weather, but it was, warm enough that it would keep me warm for where I knew we were going. And it does look cute with clothes, and I knew it would do the job. So I like it because it's very lightweight, it's water resistant, like I said, and windproof. And then I did bring a little black leather jacket along with me for something that would like dress up my other outfits. But beyond that, like I really don't have any other warm clothes. And then the Lululemon Vinyasa scarf that I'm talking about, it's like one of my most favorite travel things for outerwear, just because you can wear it like 10 or more ways. And it's good because you can use it for like covering up your shoulders or your head or your face if you're going to like a temple or a church around the world. I've even used my scarf as a beach towel or to save a place for Matt when I'm waiting for him to meet me on the beach. You can use it as a sarong. You can use it as a blanket or a cover up on a chilly bus ride or an airplane ride. It's really warm, it's comfortable, etc. So I like those two things as far as my outerwear. But as far as my clothes go, the only really couple things I want to touch on is that you want to make sure that you bring enough underwear. I mean, because you're not going to want to have to do laundry all the time. And then the most important thing I think that you should do is, I think, splurge on really good socks. The socks that we both have are made from smart wool, and the smart wool will keep your feet dry and cushioned when you're doing anything, basically, whether you're just walking around, hiking, running, working out, etc. And the smart wool itself has this thermal regulating properties, and it will keep your feet cooler in the heat and warmer in the cold. And that helps to wick away the moisture when you're actively sweating. And so that wool has these natural antibacterial properties. And what that does is it helps for your feet to not smell. And we have had the same socks since we left, and we have not had to change them out. And they're absolutely amazing. I've literally never had smelly feet, and I love them. You can hand wash them in the sink or wherever you're hand washing your laundry, and you can leave them out just to line dry, and they still don't even smell.
Yeah, as we were making our purchases before we were leaving, obviously you're trying to save as much money as possible because you want to spend this money on the cool stuff you're about to do. So looking at a pair of socks and seeing that they cost like 18 to 20 bucks, one of the hardest things I had to do to pull the trigger. But man, I am so happy that we did that, because I only brought 3 pairs of these socks, and I hike and walk around like crazy, and they continue to wear. It's unbelievable that they can wear this long without having holes in them. But they're definitely worth the money if you find a pair that you like, and the maintenance is awesome as well. But if you plan on walking a lot and you plan on being on your travels on your feet a ton, spend the extra money on your feet.
And then speaking of feet, onto shoes, I think it's super important also to have a really good pair of, whether you're trying to decide on hiking shoes or running shoes, just shoes in general. Now, we didn't bring hiking shoes, although we do hike. I settled on a pair of all-terrain trail running shoes, and they are just absolutely fabulous. The bottom of them are sort of like grooved out and spiky, so they work really nice if you're just like going on a trekking walk or if you're hiking. I've used them to walk up mountains, just walk on very rocky terrain, walk in the dirt, walk on, pavement. And I really, really like them. And quite honestly, like, I don't even think I'll ever buy another type of shoe ever again. They've really gone through the mill, and I really, really like them. The particular brand that I bought are very breathable for my feet and super comfortable. So I think it's very important to also splurge on a pair of shoes that provide your feet a lot of structure and support, especially if you're going to be doing a lot of outdoor activity, if you're going to be trekking, walking, hiking, etc. So I know that was a hard decision for me because I didn't know if I wanted to buy a pair of really nice hiking shoes or boots, or if I was going to go with just a pair of normal tennis shoes or, trekking shoes. But I did go with the all-terrain trail running shoes, and I absolutely love them. And as far as shoes in general, they definitely do take up a lot of space. But always know that you're going to be wearing one pair of shoes on your feet when you're going to and from a place. So those will not be in your bag. And then I only have 2 other pair of sandals, and those don't take up a lot of space. So those are the only other 2 pairs of shoes that I do have in my bag. I guess the next thing that I have in my bag is I do have an organizer that contains all of my electronics, and it's a really cool bag that just is like an electronic accessory organizer that neatly just stores all of my cords, my cell phone battery charger, just any type of electronics that I have. And I really like it because the great thing about it is that when I'm going through airport security, in a lot of international airports, they require you take out all of your electronics. It's not just your laptop or your cell phone. And so for me, since I don't like to check my bag, it's daunting to have to take out every single cord and every single electronic. So all I do is just take out this electronic travel organizer and I put that in the same bin when it's going through airport security. I don't even have to open it up. And then that way, the airport security can just look at that. And I've never had it opened or anything like that. And I really do like that. And then another thing I did want to touch on is there are tons of travel organizers out there available, but the one that we settled on are made by a company called Eagle Creek. And we went with the Eagle Creek Packet Spectre Starter Kit, and it's the three-piece packing cubes. And there's 2 cubes. There's a small and a medium-sized cube. And then there is a t-shirt, cube, I guess you can call it. But what it does is it's like a garment folder and it holds up to 8 to 12 shirts or pairs of pants. And it's absolutely amazing because what this does is it creates more space for your bag. And so all I do is I fold my pants and my shorts that I have along with my dresses and my shirts. And I take all of that and I put that in that garment folder and it sort of compresses it down. And then with my 2 smaller cubes, I throw my underwear and my bras and socks and toiletries in those 2 other cubes. And it essentially just helps me organize the contents of my bags. And it really helps keep all my travel gear wrinkle-free. So I can't imagine throwing my clothes just directly into my bag and having it slosh around while I'm traveling. So these packing cubes, so to speak, have really helped organize all my stuff inside my bag. And I really feel like it helps me put more into my bag. Other things that I do have in my bag, like I said, inside the packing cube is I have toiletries. Now, before I left, I knew that I wasn't going to wear makeup. I was going to have to forego a lot of my toiletries that I would typically use when I was back at home. So I'm very minimal when it comes to toiletries. So the only thing I truly really travel around with is my staples would be a toothbrush, deodorant. One of us will have a tube of toothpaste between the 2 of us. And then I'll usually have 1 small tube, a travel size tube of facial moisturizer, and then I have a small nail kit and then a razor. Beyond that, I really don't travel with anything other than that. As I go, I'll buy shampoo, conditioner, but that's the extent of it. It's really hard to travel with products, as you know, because of the 3-ounce rule. But in addition, products just take up a lot of space in your bag. So we don't really carry many products, and it's a space saver to not have to do that. And you can buy it anywhere you go. It's just, we don't want to have to deal with it. But if you do want to travel, make sure that you buy the little 3-ounce travel tubes that you can find pretty much anywhere. And we do carry the silicone travel containers, the TSA regulated 3-ounce travel containers. And so I do save money by having those because if I do buy, let's say a bottle of shampoo or conditioner and I have extra left over, I'm not going to throw that away. I'll squeeze it into the silicone travel containers and save my extra product because in the beginning, I wasn't doing that and I realized I was throwing away so much product. And so now I just save anything that I have extra. Another thing that I do carry is a medical kit, and I do have some staple things that I carry in there just because wherever you go internationally, just let it be known that drug names are not the same. The generic name of a drug is going to be the same like the chemical name of a drug, but the brand name is not. So it can get confusing for those that aren't in healthcare, aren't used to seeing this. And I just don't ever really want to be in a pinch. And I just think it's, a necessity that, you might find yourself in a situation where you could be too ill to go to the pharmacy, or maybe the pharmacy will be closed at a time you're in need of a medication or some sort of medical supply. So I just always have a medical kit on hand that it contains the basics. So You can go to our blog and find the contents of that medical kit just to see what I will typically carry with us. But it's things that you would normally think of that would be in a medical kit for like upset stomach or, for cuts and scrapes, things like that. I do carry some antibiotics that would help with things like traveler's diarrhea, because you don't want to be in a situation where you have that and then not have access to much needed antibiotics. And then, you have to wait overnight and then the situation gets worse. So we do have a medical kit that I always travel with, and then I replenish that as we go. So if we take something out, I definitely make sure that I replace it as we go. And then there are miscellaneous things that I do want to go over. We purchased a travel laundry clothesline before we left, and I thought to myself, I'm probably never going to use this. I'm just going to do my laundry at a laundromat on the road. But you would be surprised that it is hard to find that sometimes, depending on the country that you go to. They have dry cleaners where you can drop off your clothes, or there's laundry services where people will actually come and pick up your clothes for you at your door and then drop them back off, a day or two later. But there are some countries where that doesn't exist. And this travel laundry clothesline has come in handy so many times where we've had to hand wash our clothes for weeks on end, and then we air dry them, whether it's a warm climate outside in the sun or in our Airbnb where we're staying, or even hotel where we're staying sometimes. And so I really highly recommend that if you're going to be traveling for an extended period of time, to get a travel laundry clothesline, because if we didn't have that there, I don't know how we would hang our clothes up to dry. I mean, we'd have sopping wet clothes. And then another thing that Matt has probably talked about, if you've been listening to us, is that we carry a tactical pen with us. And our tactical pen is something that we've never had to use, thankfully, but it serves as both as a self-defense weapon. It can actually break glass too, and it is a writing pen. And if anything, it helps me feel more secure and confident when I'm walking alone or I'm in a new area that's unfamiliar to me. But that is something that I do carry around in my bag. So these are just a couple of things that I just wanted to touch on, and an all-inclusive list can be found at the article at the blog that I wrote on our website at passportjoy.com. And I'm going to turn the mic over to Matt so he can talk to you about some items and some clothing that he keeps in his bag.
Yeah, so my list is pretty similar. Obviously, we have different clothes, but the basics on how we keep everything organized is the same. I do with my 2 pairs of shorts. Obviously, the underwear, like Nikki said, is extremely important. And then I like to get t-shirts as we travel. If I can find a good t-shirt, then I'll trade them in and out as we travel, because you can get cheap t-shirts anywhere in the world. But my big expense before we left was I bought 2 pairs of the mizzen and main pants, which ended up being amazing because they're great to travel in because just their comfort and they're stylish. But I've worn them to hike. Like I wore them to Machu Picchu. I've worn them on several of my long hikes that I've done because they're warm, but they expand as well, or they're just flexible as you walk. So, but they are expensive. But I guess if you're looking at cost as far as longevity, they're not that expensive because they continue to be in great shape as we travel on. And then obviously my shoes do take up a big portion of my bag because my feet are big. So those, I've got a pair of water shoes and a pair of dress shoes for those occasions. And I think in a pack of playing cards, you always need a pack of playing cards just in case you get bored, so you can play some games, some card games at the airport or whatnot. So I think everything else has been said and it'll be in the show notes. And it's a tough thing to decide what you want to bring on your journey, whether it's 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years. It's not easy to understand what you need to go with to pack light. But for us, we knew we did not want to check luggage in ever because we don't want to risk the idea that all of our goods are in somebody else's hands until we land. Yes, we've had to do that a couple of times now, but for the most part, our luggage is always with us everywhere we go. And we think that's extremely important based on our scenario. But you might be a little bit different. You might want to carry more than we're discussing and take 2 bags or 3. So that's it. Hope you enjoy this list. Hope you got some value with it. If there's things that we haven't touched on that you're like, man, these guys are missing out because they need X, Y, Z, please put it in the comments. And we will definitely, hopefully, talk about that in a future episode as we continue our journey on the road. Thanks. After years of struggling with chronic back pain and limited activities, horrible sleep, I decided to get a major back surgery about 4 years ago that left me in a hospital for 6 days and had many weeks of recovery. After that recovery, I decided to get into foundation training. It's back exercises that focus on your core and your lower back and provide strength and stability moving forward. And it's changed my life totally. I'm so happy that I found foundation training. And without it, there's no way I could travel the way we do. With all the tight squeezes on buses and airplanes and little cars and tuk-tuks and all the ways that we travel, it would be impossible if my body didn't feel the way that it did. And I attribute all of that to foundation training and the strength it's given me to do, not only to feel the way I do within those transportation, but also to take on these long hikes that I love to do now and all the physical activity that I do. Foundation training is the key to that. So if you have back pain and you want to figure out a way to overcome it, or you just wake up and you have chronic fatigue, I highly recommend foundation training as a way to get there. You can get a free guide and check out all the other products. Go to passportjoy.com/back, BACK. Again, passportjoy.com/back to find out what everything you can get from this type of training for your back. We also use ExpressVPN as a secure way to connect to the internet anywhere in the world. It's your own pipeline to the internet that has servers around the world to keep you secure from hackers while you travel. It's also a great way to see the content that you deserve to see that you probably paid for on your subscriptions as you travel, those digital movie apps that you have to see your shows and your movies while you travel. You can also see flight prices like a local, which sometimes can be cheaper. And it just gives you the security and privacy that you want in coffee shops, local restaurants, on your phone or your laptop. And if you're doing anything financial, whether you're traveling, you're at home, you're in a local coffee shop, you need to consider getting a VPN. And we use ExpressVPN to do that. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. So again, check out passportjoy.com VPN for your free 30-day trial. Again, passportjoy.com/VPN for your free 30-day trial. And also check out passportjoy.com/tools for our other products that we love to use while we travel. Okay, we're going to have a Q&A session here. Again, if you want to send in questions, we get a lot of questions on the road from other travelers and the people we visit with and the hosts that we stay with, but none of it gets old. We love to answer them because we know that there's a lot of questions out there. Feel free to email at matt@passportjoy.com or on the socials. Today's first email comes from Leslie from Florida. She says, "What luxuries do you miss the most while traveling full time?" We get this all the time. There's a ton of stuff that we do miss. Traveling is amazing. We're super blessed to be doing what we're doing. But yes, there's a ton of stuff that we're like, God, I just wish we could have that again. I'm going to let Nikki jump in here.
Okay, so I don't know if a lot of you will even think that these are luxurious things, but just having traveled for a while now, I think I've redefined what luxuries are to me just from traveling. So first and foremost, I would probably say my shower. Our shower at home it just is like my happy place, I guess. I know it's clean because I clean it, and it's big, and it's like where all my products are.
Yeah, and it's super baller because my brother built it, and my brother's an amazing construction guy. So he built it to our liking. So we've got this amazing shower, like our dream shower at home, and it's got the overhead rain deal. It's amazing. Shout out to my brother Chuck. If you need construction in Indy, he's the guy.
But anyways, yeah, so my shower is like my sweet place. I love it. So that, and then my bed, and that's for several reasons. So we have had a California king size bed, and I miss it because in that size of a bed, I don't get crushed. Matt is 6'5", 6'6". Who knows how tall he is? It changes every day. If you ask him one day, he'll say 6'5". Another day, he'll tell someone 6'6". So shoes on. But anyways, he sleeps on this weird, like diagonal, I don't know, like shape. So I have to in the current situation, I usually have to lay on the side of the bed. But yeah, at home, I don't have to do that, which is really, really nice. And then at home, I don't have to worry about stray hairs or anything like that. And then knowing that my sheets are washed, and this will sound a little neurotic, but we'll typically wash our sheets every 3 days at home. I mean, I really like that. So That's a luxury to me. Just knowing that my sheets are clean. Another thing that's a luxury to me at home is my Ninja blender. And that sounds crazy, but I really liked to make homemade hummus and salsas and pestos and smoothies. And this is actually the first time since we've been traveling here in South Africa. Our host bought us a small little smoothie blender, which has been amazing. So we've been making smoothies and things like that. So that's definitely a luxury for me. And then I'm sure all the girls out there will probably relate to this, but when I left, I knew that I would have to forego a lot of my beauty products. I mean, they just don't travel well. The 3-ounce rule was traveling. You just can't stuff all those things. And then obviously there's not places where I can even buy the US products that I was able to purchase back at home. And so although there are Sephoras located, throughout the world, they're not everywhere. So a lot of the beauty products that I used at home, I just don't even use them anymore. And I was a big, huge Philosophy girl. So I would use like the Purity face wash and the micro delivery face wash and all of their body washes and lotions and things like that. I mean, I just miss like the good smells. And I'll often like joke with Matt and tell him like, I smell. Like, do I smell good? Like, do I smell like crap? And he'll be like, no, you smell really good. It's also weird not being able to purchase full sizes of anything. Like having to buy travel sizes of anything all the time kind of gets on my nerve. So when we stay at places for extended periods of time, I love being able to buy like full size bottles of shampoo and conditioner and feeling like a normal person again and not having to put them in like little squeeze tubes. So that's just luxurious in itself. I guess another thing too is like getting my hair cut by a real stylist that I trust. So like every month I used to go to a girl back at home. And like I knew she would cut my hair right and color my hair right. And I wouldn't even have to think twice about it. And it wasn't even, there was like no thought process in it. And here I freak out because I'm like, I'm going to go and how do I know if they're going to cut my hair right? And it gives me anxiety. So that is a luxury that I miss. And then my jewelry. So my wedding ring, I used to wear it all the time. I wouldn't even take it off to take a shower. I would just make sure I would get it polished and clean it appropriately. So I've since like gotten, a cheapy one in Portugal that I wear and I really like it, but it was €4. So by the way. But I do miss my wedding ring and my jewelry in general because I don't wear accessories anymore. And, girls like to wear accessories, or at least some girls do. And I'm one of those girls. And I would definitely call myself a girly girl. So feeling like a girly girl, I would always wear heels and stuff like that. And I haven't worn heels in such a long time. So it's hard to dress up when you don't have accessories and things to pull from your wardrobe. So yeah, those things in general made me feel luxurious. And I know they're just things, but it's the small things that you can do to just kind of dress it up that I do definitely miss. So just in general, just those nice beauty products and the accessories and I guess some of the home things that I mentioned that I just really miss.
Yeah, and I'm on the same page with definitely miss our big bed, my shower, and toilet situations to me is the big deal. It's like, it's easy for a guy, but for Nikki, I feel bad a lot of the times because you're rolling the dice on especially when you're out in public, you just don't know what situation you might run into and what toilets you might have to spend time on. So that's a luxury that pops up from time to time. And then for me, a workout area. So I work out often and a lot of my workout is extremely simple because I've simplified it because of our situation. But so it's a lot of it's resistance and just kind of like body weight stuff with yoga based. It's called foundation training. But so I do a lot of stuff on floors and mats wherever we are. So some of the floors that I have to do these on are extremely dirty. And so you get a lot of the hairs and stuff on the ground. So it gets pretty disgusting, but it is a workout. And that's how I chalk it up to being just, hey, it's a workout. I gotta get through this and it'll be okay.
Yeah. So he used to have this really nice yoga mat and he no longer works out on a yoga mat. He traded his yoga mat for a beach towel. So if we go somewhere and they have a beach towel, he'll use that. So I feel super bad for him.
It's just one of those things where grass too. I mean, if we get near parks, I'll work out on the grass and that's a luxury in itself. But the one thing, and my fellows will understand this, is it's extremely hard to get like bourbon on anywhere else in the world. I've found they do have their local whiskeys, which is okay, but mostly I miss my good bourbon, just having a good bourbon with the fellas, and from time to time a good cigar. But you can actually get better cigars on the road because you can get Cubans, where in the US it's not easy to get Cubans. So for the times that I'm trying to celebrate and have a bourbon and a cigar, those were my biggest luxuries whenever I do that once a month or so. If my doctor's listening, close your ears. But I do miss that. So those are the things we miss, Leslie. Thanks. The next question is from Monica from Nashville. She asks, we get this quite often as well. It's kind of a funny question. She says, it seems like a lot of fun being able to travel with your loved one, but doesn't that get annoying sometimes being around the same person 24/7? I don't know who wants to start with this one. I guess I'll own the first part of it. It is difficult at times, but we find ways to do our own thing. We like I said, when I go do my workouts, maybe I'll leave where we're staying and go on the workouts, or we take long walks separately. We typically try to have separate rooms, but if we're like in a hostile situation, there's ways to separate yourself from that other person. Calls back home are a way to separate. Like Nikki will make her calls. I'll do my own calls with my buddies or family back home. And then reading, and then I listen to podcasts a lot, and Nikki reads a ton. So that time is time separate, so we're not on top of each other. And then also, like I did go play poker on my own, deep sea fishing, taking hikes. And Nikki has certain shows that she watches, movies she watches that I don't watch. So we absolutely get time apart. Yes, we are around each other a ton. And that can be difficult sometimes, but in the end, we love it. It's something that, and it's part of the decision you got to make if you're thinking about doing something like this for a long period of time, whether it's for us, we've been married now for over 12 years. If it's a situation like that, or if you're thinking about going with your buddy or your friend for 3-4 months or 3 or 4 weeks at a time, to really think about it. I mean, even we've met couples on the road where you can tell they're annoyed with each other and they've been at it for 2 or 3 weeks. If we've been in a situation where we have dinner with another couple, we leave and say, man, I'm not sure how much fun they're having together right now. So it's not always easy. It can be difficult, especially when you get in stressful situations. It can be quite tiring and stressful for both of us. But I'll tell you, I heard Bill Murray, there's an awesome video out there and I'll put it in the show notes. But Bill Murray crashed a bachelor party once, and he was asked by one of the guys in the bachelor party about basically like, how do you decide who you want to marry and whatnot? And Bill Murray's response was, as you're going down that process, essentially go travel the world with that person for a year. And if you come back and you still love that person, then go marry them as quickly as possible. Because it really does. Traveling tests every part of what your relationship is. And if you can come out of it on the other side still in love with that person, then you know you're with the right person. And he said a year, and everybody has a year to do that, but it's absolutely true. Nikki, you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, I completely agree with Matt. I mean, at first, I think it's gotten easier over time since we've been doing this. I definitely wasn't used to, I don't think Matt was either. We had our separate lives back at home. We were definitely involved in our careers and our friends back at home. I did things with my girlfriends. He did things with his guy friends. He spent a lot of time with what he did at work, as did I. And we weren't used to the being with each other for 24/7. But as we got used to the idea and the concept of how to treat that, I think it's become a lot more easy. And there's things that you can do. I mean, we don't always have the luxury of having separate spaces. So even if you're in an Airbnb that is a private Airbnb where you're not having shared accommodation, you won't always have separate quarters. So you might have a studio space. We've had tiny Airbnbs where your kitchen is in your living room and your bedroom is in the same space. So how do you even create a separate space? I mean, you're basically with each other still 24/7. So there are things that I have found that I can do to make myself feel separate. Although I may still see him out of the corner of my eye, I like to put my headphones in. And even if I'm not listening to music, I'll read a book with my headphones in so I don't hear noise in the background. Or I'll just get out and say, hey, I'm going to go to the grocery store and go grocery shopping. You have to live your life like you were as if you were at home. We still do normal things. It's not like we are on a vacation. So there's errands to be run. There's chores to be done. I mean, I still clean. I still cook. I still do laundry. There's things that I do. And even though he may be in the same room, it's not like, you have to talk to each other 24/7. And that's another thing. I think I now appreciate silence. And although before the silence was with myself because because he may have been at work, or I was at work, or I was hanging out with my friends. I really appreciate that silence within myself now, because it's a quiet, peaceful time, and I've had time to think about a lot of things. But yeah, it's awesome. I think I've found a lot of things out about myself and out about him, and a new appreciation for our relationship in general. And, it isn't all cookies and cream 24/7. I mean, we fight and we disagree about things, but I think in any relationship, whether you're traveling or not, that is just a reality. And if anyone tells you otherwise, I'd love to meet that person, because I don't know anyone who doesn't have their arguments or disagreements. But for the most part, before we went on this journey together, we knew that is what it was. I mean, who doesn't know that that's what it's going to be? We chose to do this because we wanted to spend time with each other and to travel the world and go on adventures and journeys and experience that. So when you sign up for that, I think what we're trying to tell you is that that's what you're signing up for. So it's not like you're going to have two separate lives. But yeah, it's been awesome.
Absolutely. And we've met several solo travelers on the road, and that's an epic way to see the world as well. But yeah, there's something about seeing something amazing with another person, or experiencing something unforgettable with somebody else that you can recall walking up Machu Picchu together, or whatever it is that's on your bucket list. There is something about sharing that moment with somebody else. So I love her. She's amazing, and it's been a blast, and we know it'll continue to be a blast. But great question. And we'll wrap up with that today. If you have any questions you want to ask us, Matt@passportjoy.com or any of the socials, and we'll get at them. Thank you. Okay, hope you enjoyed that episode. We are having a very cool contest, which will allow us to give away awesome products that we actually use while we travel. We are still deciding how we're going to package the gifts, but they will all be given out. Our first prize comes from the great people of SpyEscape.com. Again, SpyEscape.com. You will hear us talk about the book, Spy Secrets That Can Save Your Life, by the former CIA officer Jason Hansen. We talk about it often. Him and his team are giving away an autographed version of this book, and there's 6 spy tools, which include a tactical pen. You've heard Nikki and I talk about this before. We carry it with us every day. Mini spy tack flashlight, an 11-in-1 survival tool, credit card knife, super cool there, survival keychain, and a universal handcuff key. These are such cool gifts. Please be sure to check out their variety of wide products at SpyEscape.com. They've got a ton of stuff on there you can check out. And then we're going to be adding several other prizes in each of the future episodes. We'll discuss what those are. So to enter, please be sure to subscribe on the podcast tool that you use. And then when you subscribe, you will automatically receive each episode that's published. And then to enter the contest, rate and review our podcast. And then from there, you will be entered into the contest, and we'll be giving out the prizes after episode 10. We'll start naming the people that won the prizes. Okay? So review and rate. This helps us a great deal to get podcasts out there for new listeners and to help with our popularity. Okay? Thanks again. Talk soon.